Howdy folks, welcome back to Boondockery. Today, me and a couple assistants are going to be baking Logan bread. Well, through the past couple of videos, you've seen that I've been preparing for my winter camping season. And if you've watched the channel for any period of time, you know I'm a huge fan of hand-to-mouth food. This is like, taking the time, the energy, the materials, the fuel and things like that to cook meals 3 times a day, especially when you're moving. It just doesn't work real well. And I'm not a huge fan of doing dishes anyway when I'm camping, let alone in the winter, which is a lot more challenging. So I like being able, when I'm moving, is to just reach in my smock pocket, pull out whatever it is I'm going to be eating, and I eat it. And so I've been doing a little research, and I ran across something that really seems to fit the bill. And it's incredibly high calorie and very nutritious, and it's easily consumed while you're moving. I happened to find a recipe that really fits the bill. It's called Logan Bread. Now, Logan Bread is incredibly nutritious, has a lot of calories, and it's hand to mouth. There's no preparation needed. Now, the recipe originated, according to things that I've read, in a 1950s expedition in the Yukon to Mount Logan. And it's, doing more research online, you see all kinds of variations of the recipes. And the recipe that I decided to use, I actually found on Prepsteaders YouTube page, and I thought it sounded pretty good. So that's the one I'm going to go with. Now, like Prepsteaders did, they altered the recipe just a tiny little bit. Now, all the ingredients I'm showing you, you can very easily substitute several of them, and to your own personal taste. I have really tried to focus on the most nutritious that I can get in these because I'm making enough of it to take me through the entire winter camping season. So I'm buying organic, I'm buying some of the things are a little bit more expensive, but all of these ingredients are things that you can substitute with things that you could pretty much buy at your local grocery store. Now, I have been incredibly blessed today to having 2 fine young assistants to help me out with my Logan bread. Over here to my right is Wyatt, and over to my left is Willow. Now, this recipe is comprised of 2 major components, one dry, one wet. We're going to go ahead and start with the wet. Okay, the wet ingredients, believe it or not, actually comprises of some solid things too. But you're going to have a half cup of water, 1 cup of oil, and this can be any variety of oils that you choose. I choose to use something that's much more shelf stable, and that is coconut oil for me, and it adds a little bit of aroma to the mix as well. But there is a certain component you're going to need to work with this, because we're going to have to liquefy it before we actually add that to the wet ingredients. We also have half a cup of honey, half a cup of molasses, 1/2 cup of dried cherries, 1/2 cup of dried cranberries, 1/2 cup of chopped pecans, and 4 eggs. Now, like I said, I'm into this for the nutrition aspect of it, and we were able to get a decent water filter. This is for Patriots. This is the Patriot Pure water filter. It's a 2-gallon filtration system. It works great. So this is the water I'm using. Now, the honey you use, you really need to focus on your area. If you can get locally sourced raw honey in your area, that's going to provide you with a whole lot more health benefits than just having an alternative to high fructose corn syrup. Now, this is Rose Farm honey that's produced literally a 10-minute drive from where I live. And supporting local business and also getting a very high quality product. I'm going to go ahead and hold this up to the lens so you can see that, and if you happen to live in southeastern Ohio, you might want to give these guys a call. if at all possible, you can procure farm-raised eggs that, you know, it's not mass-produced. It's going to be a whole lot better for you nutritionally. As far as the flavor goes, it's absolutely fantastic, and it's also better for the chickens. Now, the first thing we need to do when we're mixing all of the wet ingredients together is I'm going to add the water and the coconut oil, but unfortunately the coconut oil is pretty much solid. I mean, it's a semi-solid, but it definitely needs to be liquefied in order to combine with all the other ingredients. So I'm going to go ahead and pop this in a microwave for about a minute, minute and a half, and get that all in liquid form. Now, I'm using coconut oil, so I didn't need to have hot water. If you're using a liquid oil, you're going to want to get as hot a water as you possibly can in there, and that's going to help incorporate the rest of the ingredients. Now, Willow, I would like for you to go ahead and add the cranberries. Excellent. Oh, got one more. Get her in there. There we go. Wyatt, add the cherries. Oh, got a couple in there. Get them out.
Bro.
Okay, Willow, go ahead and add the pecans. There we go. There, that's looking good. Now, Wyatt, we're going to add those eggs. Oh, sorry, buddy.
That's good.
No, we're going to get all of that eggy goodness in there. There we go. Good, now we're going to stir that up. Now, one thing you definitely don't want to do is to get your water so hot that you're cooking your eggs. You want it to all blend in and incorporate together.
It's like oatmeal.
Yeah, it smells pretty good. Okay, let's go ahead and get to our dry ingredients. We're going to let this sit for a few and let that moisture absorb into the dried fruit. Well, just like every other one of my videos, Willow, what did Papaw forget to do?
You forgot to put in the molasses.
I did forget to put in the molasses. Wyatt, what did Papaw also forget to do?
You forgot to put the honey.
That's right. So we're going to put the molasses, and I'm using one of those nice silicone spatulas to make sure I get all of the molasses goodness. I absolutely love molasses. I would rather have this, yeah, I would rather have this on pancakes than maple syrup. But that
Why don't you do it?
is a tale for another time. Now,
Just want to eat that honey out of the bowl.
oh, this is the best honey. I've had a lot of raw organic honey in my life, and this flavor is over the top.
It smells good too.
Oh yeah, it does. Okay, I think this is good. Now, nope. There we go.
Kind of looks like ice cream.
Yeah, Willow, why don't you give that a stir for me real quick?
Okay.
That's looking pretty good. Well, Willow's going to finish stirring this, and we're going to set it aside for a few minutes and let some of that moisture absorb into the dried fruit, and we'll get started on the dry ingredients. Now, these are our dry ingredients. We're going to have 1 cup of whole wheat flour, and we have 1/2 cup of chia seeds. In the original recipe, this called for 1/2 cup of rye flour, but again, I'm shooting for the nutrition over anything else. We have 1/2 cup of milled flaxseed. It has to be milled because if you're just putting plain flaxseed in your ingredients, it's going to go straight through your body and offer no nutrition. The only way that your body can absorb nutrition from flaxseed is if it's milled. You're going to have 1 cup of old-fashioned oats. You're going to have 1 cup of wheat germ, which is right here. And you have 1/2 cup of powdered milk. Now this powdered milk happens to be powdered goat's milk. And this is something that a lot of people that are lactose intolerant actually can't drink. So, and it's a little easier for your body to process than cow's milk. We have 1/4 cup of brown sugar. We have 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder and 1 teaspoon of Redmond salt. Now the reason I'm using old-fashioned oats as opposed to the instant oats is that this is by far much more nutritious. It holds together much better in this particular recipe. Now the salt that I use is Redmond salt. If you are into your own personal nutrition, I highly recommend this because you get a lot more minerals in it other than just salt. And we buy it by the tub. It's a lot cheaper that way, and we go through this quite a lot. If you go through a lot of salt in your household, you might want to look into this because it'll be far more nutritious for you.
Yeah.
Now we're going to go ahead and incorporate all the dry ingredients. Willow, go ahead and put in the flour. There we go. Wyatt, the oats. Get all of them in there. There we go.
One more.
Yeah, Willow, the chia seeds. Okay, Wyatt, I'm going to go and put in the wheat germ. Okay, Willow, the powdered goat milk. It's got a lip in it. Yeah. There, I might have to smack that for you. It's being bad. Okay, and Wyatt, the milled flaxseed. There we go. And I'm going to go ahead and put in the baking powder, the salt, and the sugar.
The whole block.
Okay, Wyatt, you get to blend this one and make sure everything is incorporated. Now, my wonderful assistants are doing the final stirrings. Wyatt's working with the dry ingredients, getting that all incorporated. Willow is stirring up the wet ingredients because it's been sitting for a little while and we've been able to have those dried fruits reconstitute. So we're ready to go ahead and add these things together. Okay, we're going to go ahead and incorporate in it. Willow, when I pick this up and I start pouring it, if you would, use this spatula, just sort of pull everything else into the bowl, okay? Wyatt, could you stop? And I'm going to have you continue as soon as we get all that in there. I'll get that a little closer for you. You just get all that goodness out of there. It works just like a squeegee.
Kind of looks like dog food now.
Well, it's definitely not going to taste like it. Okay, I think that's pretty good. Okay, why? Now go ahead and I'm going to have you stir it for a little while. It's a little thicker now, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then we're going to give Willow a chance to try her hand at it. There you go, Will. Now before we started all this, I preheated the oven for 280 degrees. It's pretty low, but we need that low temperature because it's going to bake for a long time, which is between 80 to 90 minutes. So I've gone ahead and put a piece of parchment and a 9x9 baking pan, which is just about perfect for this recipe. And we're just going to put all of this in there. Now this is one thing, I absolutely love these silicone utensils, is that you can get just about everything out of it with no effort whatsoever. You know, the old-fashioned wooden spoon, I mean, it had its place. And I've used a bunch of them, but this one definitely works a whole lot better. And I know the Grandmonkeys are incredibly excited to see how all this turns out. Isn't that right, Grandmonkeys?
Nah.
We're going to put it in the oven. Now I did the math, and for this recipe, it's 5,766 calories per recipe. Yeah, it is awesome, because I really want a lot of calories and a lot of nutrition too. So we're going to go ahead and give this a taste test, and we'll just see how yummy it is. All the ingredients, I love all the ingredients. So we'll see what non-hikers have to say about it. Now the thing is, I want you two to count your blessings because you didn't help me make pemmican. Okay?
What's pemmican?
I'll tell you, no matter how this tastes, I guarantee you that this will taste a whole lot better than pemmican. Here you go, Willow. And on the count of 3, we'll all taste it together. Ready? 1, 2, 5. Nice. I said 5, not 3. 3.
Good.
Okay. I'll reserve my opinion for last. Willow, you go first. What do you think?
No. I don't like it.
You don't like it? Is it horrible? Okay, you don't have to eat it anymore. Wyatt?
Decent.
Decent?
Yeah.
Okay. On a scale of 1 to 10, how good is it?
5.
Well,
Actually, no, 6.
I think it pretty well.
Mine's a 10.
It's not particularly sweet. It's not overly moist, but it's not overly dry. There's got a lot going on because you have all those different ingredients going on with it. With the cherries, the cranberries, the nuts, the chia seeds really come through. You're crunching those up. It's almost like you're eating a little bit of Rice Krispie treats. See, that's the way you should look at this, Willow, like it's a Rice Krispie treat, but nutritious. That's what a Rice Krispie treat would taste like if it were nutritious. But I'm pleased with it. Like I said, 5,766
calories.
right, per recipe. So you can portion that to the amount of calories that you want per each one of those. And I'm going to be doing a couple different storage techniques, one of which I'm just going to wrap it in parchment and aluminum foil and stick it in the fridge for a few of them. I'm going to be vacuum sealing several because I've made a couple batches to put in the freezer, and I'm also going to be freeze drying some of them. And the thing is, I really am intrigued about that, and you'll see the vacuum sealed and the freeze dried in future videos. Is that for the freeze dried, I could almost see this as being like a porridge, as well as, and I would dice them up in little teeny tiny chunks about the size of a dice, just to have something to pop in their mouth and crunch on. Definitely change the texture, but yeah, overall, I'm very pleased with it. So we have 1 nay, 1 okay, and
One more, try it.
a yay from me. Now, I don't know if you noticed it or not, but the entire time that I was talking in the last scene, Willow, which didn't like it at all, continued to eat it. So apparently, I mean, it wasn't as horrible as she thought. I could have very easily shot this video all by myself, but the thing is, especially in times like the holidays, to get together and to do things with your loved ones, your grandkids, your children, anything like that, find an excuse for it and to bring them in and introduce your joys and your passions to them. And perhaps one day it may turn into theirs. Well, folks, there you have it. Logan Bread, a la John, a la Prepsteaders. Well, folks, as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.